Question number 5 of the PhilNITS FE afternoon portion of the exam. In this question, we are supposed to read the following description pertaining to an asset management system and then answer the sub-question. This part actually, I quickly just read it a while ago when I was answering the question. And I think we can do that very quickly right now. Company W is a medium-sized company in the automotive industry. It produces and sells components of cars such as sheet metals and axles. The accounting department is responsible for registering all assets of Company W. The accountants require up-to-date asset information to calculate asset depreciation to prepare company financial statements. Currently, there are many non-current assets, and they are long-term operating assets such as machinery and office equipment. In some cases, assets are damaged or moved to another department. However, the departments in charge of such assets did not inform the accounting department to update the information. In the past, each asset had a sticker that indicated only the asset ID. The asset information was kept in spreadsheets. For updating asset information, the accounting department and the departments in charge of the assets must work together in finding, referencing, and verifying those assets. This was quite a time-consuming process. Therefore, the asset management system is developed for retrieving and verifying asset information. The system manages the history of asset information. Even if an asset disappears, the record of that asset is not deleted. Okay, so that's pretty much the description of what we are supposed to be tackling here. And the keywords would be the asset management system. And of course, this problem about having this time-consuming process that we um, need to incur because there are so many of these assets that we have to find, reference, and verify, and things like that. Now, the solution based on the following description, there are four main functions of this assets management system. We got here the register assets, and I've put here some of the words that we are gonna focus on because the question actually is asking us, if we go down to the sub-question portion, we need to find the correct answer from the group that would be filled in the blank. And the blank here is saying that the checking flag is blank after doing all the previous steps, and we'll need to know what should be the value, if it's gonna be 0 or 1 or any of the other ones. And because we are talking about the checking flag, the way he answered this was, other than reading the previous description but not focusing too much on it, is this part about what is the checking flag in the first place. And it's saying that the checking flag at the start, when we are registering the assets, is set to 0, and it's supposed to signify that it's not checked, and the default asset condition is set to normal. So these particular part of the register assets description. Okay, so currently the checking flag is set to 0, which means it's not checked, and the asset condition is set to normal. The next step is checking the assets. It says here that once a year, the accounting department asks staff in the departments in charge of the assets to check the assets. And it says here that the system resets the checking flag of all assets to 0 to not checked. So from here we got the idea already that if it's 0, that means not checked. Because remember, what we need to do is to find the assets, see if they're there or not, and file reports. So that's why the third step is reporting something about the result of the asset checking. Now, the asset condition, remember, as default, it should be normal. But there are other cases too, for example, need repair or discard. Now, after checking, we set the flag to 1 because we've checked the asset already. So here we see a change. Once we've checked the asset, we put a 1 there to signify that it's checked. The next step, the last step, well, actually, it depends also if the asset won't need to be rechecked again. But the fourth step is saying that we update the assets. We have here the list of assets whose checking flag is 1, okay, because we've checked them already. And then this part here, which is saying that the accountant needs to confirm the checking result of each asset, and then sets the checking flag to 2. So now we have a change from 1 to 2 because that means that the accountant has checked it too. If the asset information is incomplete, state the reason and set the checking flag to 0. So it could be 2 or 0, and it's 0 not checked if the asset information is incomplete. So that's why if it's 0, we can see that in the next step, those with the checking flag that is blank, the accountant requests the concerned staff to check and report again for those assets. And from here we know that the answer would be 0 because if the asset did not pass the confirmation of the accountant, then it will need to be checked again. And here I put here the emphasis on check because we need to check these assets and recheck them again and re-verify so that we'll know if they're there or not. And that's why the way I solved this really was to focus on what exactly are we looking for. It says here checking flag is blank, and then what should be the value, what could be the value. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 0. And to know how we'll arrive with the correct answer, we'll have to follow the steps here to understand what's happening. And then from there, understand that the checking flag could be set to 0 again if the accountant finds that the information is incomplete. And again, we have here the highlighted, the emphasized word check. Okay, so for this question, the correct answer is 0. I don't consider this a very difficult problem. It's just that we need to read the description, read the steps, particularly the steps, and understand how we'll solve the problem given the choices that we have and also the sentence that we need to understand. Okay?